Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT, and before I get started with this episode, I gotta tell you a quick story. Yesterday, I had a package show up at my door that I had no idea what it was. I don't remember ordering anything and had no guess as to what it could be. My wife brought it in, she's like, what is this? And it's a gigantic box, and I'm like, no idea, why? She's like, I hope you weren't spending money on more video games, and I'm like, no, I swear, I wasn't. Which is true, I didn't. So I opened it up and it ended up being this Tempest, made by Atari, came out actually the month after I was born in October of 1981, and this company, New Wave Toys, made it called a Replicade, and it's fascinating. I haven't opened it yet, but I did do a video talking about the Centipede made by them, which they so graciously sent me one as well. These guys have been nothing but kind. They're awesome people to deal with. Every time I've had an issue, a concern, anything about it, email them, they're prompt, right back, very respectful, and very apologetic, like, hey, how can we make this better? We want to make sure we put the gamers first, which is quite refreshing, we'll put it nicely. Anyway, so in this video, I'm going to do an unboxing of this and some first impressions of what I feel like this game brings to the player and if it justifies the fairly high price point of $120 USD plus tax plus shipping. Let's get into it. Alright, so here's the box, and the actual size of the unit is quite a bit smaller than the box. It's just a lot of cushioning in here. Got the same USB plug, instructions. We got a few extra pieces in this one. I have to check that out in a second. It's got the coin box just like the Centipede unit had. Step 1, charge before play. Step 2, press and hold power button for 5 seconds. Alright. So that's a top-down view of this puppy. Look at that. God. That is magnificent. Can't even fit the whole thing in the view here. It's such a gigantic cabinet. It is officially 1/6 scale of the original unit. It looks to replicate everything about it, down to the wood paneling on the side. It just feels like it costs a lot of money to make this. It's just so professional. Coin box. Let's see if this thing pops open. Good way to propose to your lady or whatever. Put a ring in there. She likes arcades. So press left coin return to add credits. Press right coin return button to access the menu in the game. And another thing that came with this, I'm not sure about if they're giving this out with every purchase or how it works. It's a really sweet keychain that lights up when you press it, like a legit old school coin return from an arcade, and it's got a really good weight to it. Actually gonna be giving this one away to a Patreon, because I already have one of these. But they're amazing, and just an added bonus for anyone who's buying one of these if they're able to get one with it. Again, I can't guarantee it comes with it, but if it does, it's a cool little bonus. Alright, now as for this, I'm gonna go charge it, and then we'll be back to test out the actual gameplay.
5 hours later.
Alright guys, so we are done charging it. It took about 5 hours for a full first charge on this. And I've been doing a little bit more inspecting on it, and it's not exactly a one-to-one for the exact arcade from Tempest. Looking more at this, it's missing like the overhang speaker here, which was like a big bass speaker, and then it had another stereo speaker here, or mono speaker. I don't know how the speakers actually work, but in this case there's no speaker overhang, and this is just a sticker. The actual sound looks like it comes just from the back speaker here, which if it's anything like the Centipede arcade, it's still going to be plenty loud, but for the Tempest purist out there, it's not going to 100% exactly replicate the sound experience that you got from that arcade itself. And probably why they did that was because the overhang was to slam the music down on you, but since you're probably going to be playing this, you know, down towards it, then the speaker pointing downward wouldn't have made sense anyways, but just something that I noticed. As far as the actual game itself, everything else about it seems fairly spot on. They have the bend here, So it's just like the original Tempest, it's very angly, and they did that on purpose because the game itself was made on vector graphics, which were not pixels like most games, but they were actually lines. So for the time, Tempest was like super futuristic and basically high definition. Well, at least as high definition as graphics could get back then. It was very ahead of its time. The sound is very loud. Let me see if I can turn it down. So there's a volume adjustment on the back for the sound right here. It's very easy to turn up and down. But any concerns I had with the audio have subsided now that I see how loud it is. There's not too much of an issue there, but let's try to play through this thing and see what we get out of it. So every time I press the left coin slot, it adds a credit to it. And this does have a 2-player mode as well, in case anybody's wondering. It also saves the high scores, even if it runs out of power. It has a battery backup save for it. As far as the knobs are concerned, I talked about this bag earlier. I looked at it a little bit closer. Looks like it comes with a replacement knob in case this one wears out. You have a second one. Or if you want to replicate the actual authentic feel of the old school Tempest Arcade, it comes with these tiny mini ones. So 2 of these, just in case one of them runs out or wears out, I should say. Let's try out a mini one. This one really sinks in there far and makes it hard to play, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, that's not even really playable. You need the big one. That's not even... There we go. Yeah, I can't even play it with this small one. I would not recommend using the mini one. Just stick to the large one, because this one, first off, it sinks in way too far, so it's not even playable with your fingers. And I have very large hands, so that's probably one of the issues I'm having with that. So I'm just gonna stick to the large spin controller because it fits my hand a lot better. It's a lot more manageable. As far as my thoughts are concerned for the gameplay elements on this Tempest Arcade, it accurately depicts what it felt like playing it on the real arcade itself. The knobs that they give you, I'm glad that they gave you a larger one because it wouldn't have really been playable if all they had was this tiny little nub, especially if you have big fingers. Just stick with the one that comes default on it. The game itself is a ton of fun if you enjoy that nostalgic feeling and want the real arcade in your house, but you don't have the space or the money to buy the actual unit. This is a good replacement for that. And as far as Replicade's concerned, if they keep sending me these things, I'm gonna have a full-on mini arcade at my house pretty soon. I'm looking forward to that Street Fighter 2 one. Wink wink if you guys watch this. I hope I get that one too, because that is one of my favorite games of all time. As far as Tempest is concerned though, the game for $120, it's a bit steep, but if you grew up as a child in the 80s with sincere nostalgia for games like this, it's exactly what you've been looking for, and $120 is a very small price to pay for that nostalgia. If you're anything like me and love high quality retro tech, this is exactly what fits the bill. When looking at the shipping and taxes, it can vary based off location, so it's hard to give an exact price, but stick to around $10 US, $25 international for shipping, plus you're looking at taxes, whatever those are for your local area. So the price point could end up being $140 or more dollars just to get this game to your house. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for a retro arcade that perfectly replicates what it felt like to play Tempest back in the day, you are not going to find anything better than this thing. Again, I want to say a special thank you to New Wave Toys for sending me this. It in no way impacted how I feel about the arcade unit. Like I said, if you are not a child of the 80s, you didn't grow up with the nostalgia for these, you probably would hate this thing. But for those people that spent quarter after quarter and spent probably far more than $140 in the arcade just playing this thing, then yeah, you'll see a reason for why it's valued at that price that they set it at. As far as everybody else, no, clearly you're not going to want this thing, but you are not the market for it. This is just an honest review from a guy who loves video games, and I'm hashtag not sponsored, but thank you again, New Wave Toys. You guys are amazing. And as I mentioned earlier, Street Fighter 2 is coming out next. It comes with a separate joystick so you can play 2 players on that thing at the same time. That is gonna be absolutely epic. I can't wait to see how that thing turns out. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.